that you look at someone like a possibly Kobe Bryant, when I've seen him personally get in people's face and just cuss them out to their damn near in tears, and they're grown men. You know, Michael Jordan probably would have been fighting his teammates if he had to see some of the stuff that these guys do. So I feel like what makes LeBron great, he's always been knocked out. He's not a killer. He'll make the right pass, and I've always loved that. But I also think sometimes that hurts him because, not saying I've never had him as a leader, and I'm sure he has his ways of particularly leading this team. But I know for a fact if the two guys that I mentioned before saw some of the effort and energy that he saw from his teammates this year, it would have been an issue.
I mean, when Kobe, Dwight, and Nash all had injuries, though, they didn't win a playoff game.
They got to the playoffs, though.
But they didn't win a game. Neither did this Lakers team. The year 19, when he was averaging 22 on 37% shooting, Kobe did, the Lakers, they went 10 and 25 in the games that he played in. So I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, Matt, but I'm not so sure it's well, Kobe Bryant would have been the white horse to Kobe Bryant would have been the white horse to
Man, why is she so angry? Matt Barnes is absolutely right. LeBron James just kind of sat there and said, well, we lost, it's over. I mean, he was literally laughing on the sidelines and he didn't really care about the outcome of the games. Kobe, it would have been a totally different story, and it's not that big of a deal to point it out.
Oh, I'm definitely not saying that, but what I'm saying is Kobe would get in, like, he would not let the way some of his teammates
get in someone's face and it doesn't turn into wins, then you're just getting in somebody's face.
But it's going to be a problem the entire season. And it just didn't seem like, at some point, it just seemed like everyone's just like, oh, well, forget it. It is what it is. And I just know, like I said, this is not even what LeBron has been able to do this season alone has been absolutely incredible. He continues to climb the historical ladder. But I'm just saying, from a standpoint of just not having what he saw on a day in, day out basis sometimes, those guys wouldn't have had it like that.
LeBron played great this season, and nobody is blaming him for the struggles, but we can hold everybody accountable. Everybody could have done more, and LeBron, from a leadership aspect, could have gotten angry with his teammates and called them out more.
To quit whining. Roll it.
Oh, he's trying to hurt me. I mean, come on, man. This is the playoffs, man. He wears 23. He wants to be Michael Jordan. I can respect that. He's a great player. You saw what Mike went through. Mike got fouled way worse than this. You know what I'm saying? No one's trying to hurt him. Everybody's trying to play basketball, trying to play tough. Play basketball, leave it alone. Trying to hurt me.
You buying what Haywood is selling right there, Mariotti?
Who in the heck is Brendan Haywood to talk about LeBron James like that? Why don't you go?
This is your man who did it this time, coming at you with another episode to the classic series, unfortunately, Debunking the Bron. And this one is going to be titled From Wonderkin to Megalomaniac. From Wonderkin to Megalomaniac. Ladies and gentlemen, I remember a time when Mr. James, LeBron Ramon James, was, I almost said adopted, but he kind of was adopted into the NBA family. When he was drafted to the NBA. And I remember at that time, Silver was just about to come into power as the commissioner, and the old commissioner, Stern, was stating that, one of the regrets that he had, believe it or not, was giving a person like Michael Jordan so much authority that he could ruin certain points of his reign of power. Giving Michael Jordan so much power with NBC. Believe it or not, even Michael Jordan, who done a great job as an ambassador, just like Dr. J. But David Stern believed that he gave Michael a little bit too much power. Referees pretty much was in awe of him. Obviously you had other components like Gatorade and Nike, which Jordan brand is now under Nike, or part of Nike, pardon me. And just some of the power that Michael displayed on and off the court created an aura around him, almost like a godlike vibe. Men of God never felt that way per se, men in general. But a lot of fanboys, even back then in the 90s, had obsession with Michael Jordan, and some still do. Whether you have him placed as the greatest of all time, the best basketball player you've ever seen, or at least in your top 5, or you're willing to go hard body against a Magic Johnson fan, a Kobe fan, or, Wilt Chamberlain or such. That's neither here or there, but you can take it too far as a so-called fan. But David Stern warned Adam Silver, don't do that with the next rising star. And we're going to get to Kobe, but now we're on this guy LeBron. And would you say that he came in as a wonderkind? He knew where to pass the ball. He knew where the ball would come off to get him a rebound. Why he never averaged a triple-double, hence, why he's so enamored, allegedly, with Luka Doncic and Russell Westbrook, is neither here or there. But he never averaged a triple-double, but he is a wonderkind. The dude knows where the ball is going to come off, where you're going to be in the offense. He made comments as a younger player that he knows everybody's position in the offense from 1 through 5. I believe him. Can't stand his guts on the court, and there's a lot of things I despise about this man off the court, because I believe his soul is aligned with some darkened places. But nevertheless, we gonna admit the dude knows how to play the game. But the issue is he knows how to play the game so much that he's hard to deal with. Yes, he has a lot of gifts that just come with being a great basketball player, but he doesn't know how to play an actual position. Is he a scorer or is he a passer? See, the irony of him bragging so much, and I've heard Chronicles of Judah 144 say this, some of you other brothers like 2 Raw and definitely HD. You can have an abundance of too much of anything. Too much of anything is not necessarily a good thing when it comes to sports. For the coaching staff, for the administration, or even to a certain degree, your fandom or your followers. He's bitching and moaning on the dais about not being acknowledged as a scorer. Well, because we never saw you really naturally score. We saw you go to the line a lot. We saw a couple games like the Detroit game, the Boston Game 6 game where he was in a zone. And we have seen him go for 40 plus where it was like, man, he really played well tonight. He played great. He was the best player on the court. Maybe a couple games. But you're not one of those guys where it's fun to watch. A lot of transition points, a lot of transition points. A lot of banging into people, not getting called offensive fouls. Not really a pure jump shooter. We can nitpick. But then you'll say on another podcast or another show, I always like getting my guys involved. Well, the issue with that comment is everyone who's the third option hates playing with you. And, the media doesn't want to address it per se. No one wants to play with you besides a beta male like Anthony Davis. Kawhi said no. James Harden at one point said no. Russell got kind of suckered in. And if I can find some clips where Russell was being courted by Anthony Davis as well as Russell Westbrook, as well as LeBron James, at least a year and a half before the actual trade or insertion of Russell Westbrook onto the Lakers team even happened when he was playing for the Wizards, and a little bit of discussion was made while he was playing with the Rockets, where Russell was disgruntled because Russell is a mini LeBron James in a lot of ways. Very gifted athletically. I think he's a wonderkind. I think Russell always knew how to play the game, but Russell's basketball IQ is pretty bad. I won't say LeBron James' individual basketball IQ is bad. He knows where you're supposed to be. He knows what offense. He has a photographic memory. That's phenomenal. But on a team basketball IQ, I don't think he's ever been coached right. So when he makes comments about what college he would have went to, well, sir, you can't play within an offense because you're not a forward. You're not a center. As we see, you don't like to bang, and you're not really a good rebounder. You're not a point guard because your dribbling skills is just bully ball. You're not a shooting guard. So what exactly are you? And these are things that a LeBron supporter or fan or people in the media who are plants will say that we're hating. We're hating. No, we're telling you that we play basketball, or we've noticed that on the court he doesn't have a position, i.e. Draymond Green at this point, i.e. Luka Doncic, and definitely it all started with guys like LeBron James. See, Oscar Robertson was a 1-2 guard. Jason Kidd was a 1-2 guard. Michael Jordan is a scoring guard, a shooting guard like Jerry West and Dwayne Wade. Allen Iverson is a combo guard, but there was problems playing within an offense with a guy like Allen Iverson. You know why? Because Allen Iverson was gifted with so many athletic gifts, but he couldn't reel that in at times to play point guard. And his team was just not that good on a lot of those 76er squads. But let's get to the crux of what we're noticing with ESPN. Slyly, they are starting to come for Kobe Bryant's head again. They've hopscotched Michael Jordan conversations to making sure that they are ticked off about LeBron not making even the play-in. Just imagine, there was no play-in back in the day. These dudes wouldn't even have been mentioned. They're out of the playoffs. But Malika Andrews made sure that she put out a comment about what Kobe didn't do, and the 1 year in the 2013 they underachieved with Dwight Howard and Steve Nash. And you have to watch the comment to understand where I'm going with this. The only problem, and it's a big problem with bringing up Kobe at this time, is not the fact that the man is dead. The fact that you punks never said this while he was alive. The media hated Kobe. They definitely did, but Kobe was still playing. He was still receiving checks by the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA. If Kobe Bryant was alive right now, the way he freely goes about his business and writing poetry and stories and other, endeavors he was into, he's about to be a bad man, which is why I believe there was a removal process. That's another video for another time. But he would have been checking LeBron through Rob Pelinka, and at this time, I don't even think he would even need Rob Pelinka. You have an issue, you can address it right here. But Malika Andrews and ESPN is also upset because there's a book that came out about the legendary Coach K coaching the Olympics. That just happened to disappear. All of a sudden, they don't want to talk about that. How LeBron James made a comment saying, y'all better get this MFer about Kobe Bryant shooting too much within the offense. But Kobe Bryant is a 2 guard. What are you, sir? This is what Kyrie Irving's problem was with Ty Lue not allowing Kyrie to be more of a point guard. I don't think Kyrie's the best point guard. I think Kyrie is a weaponry point guard like Steph, but that's another video for another time. But the reason why this video was made today, this morning, about debunking, because they're trying to make sure that they build storylines about scoring titles, Kobe's failures, to keep contact with the masses about LeBron James being in the same discussion as Michael Jordan. Because Kobe's not even there, allegedly. Now, I know some of you brothers will say, oh no, LeBron's not better than Kobe. Exactly. For years, people have had, debates. There is no more debate. So secretly, we already know the Michael Jordan ship has been sailed. The question is, why are we not breaking down LeBron James' entire career? We talking 20 years now. And Kobe, he's a failure. If you take away bubble chip, Ray Allen, bullcrap shot, we already know what his record would be. Kobe Bryant, yes indeed, was a 1A star, especially after the first championship with Shaq. So let's give him 4. Let's give him 4 chips. Still more than what LeBron really has. Now I know people will say, oh, he underachieved. Yeah, after an Achilles injury, and let's be honest, Steve Nash and Dwight Howard also couldn't play with Kobe because we both know that both them guys' heart is in the question. I have questions about Steve Nash as just an alpha male point guard, as a coach, as I'm watching right now. There's some things that I wish he would, put more of a stamp on. Dwight Howard, I don't even need to get into that. I mean, y'all already know how I feel about dude, like you can imagine. But he is a good player at one time. But no. You playing with 5 Hall of Famers or 4. And Russell Westbrook is playing secretly better when LeBron James isn't on the court. But the question is, who wanted Russell Westbrook? Who wanted Carmelo to play within the offense, allegedly? What offense? So for years, man. So when you hear about Brendan Hayward going off the cusp the other day, that comes back to those Wizard years with Antoine Jamison, Gilbert Arenas, Caron Butler. I want to say Blatch was on that team. They were the first ones who put out back in 05-06, the league loves LeBron and he's a crybaby. Look it up. Brendan Hayward couldn't stand dude. So the other day he couldn't wait to get with Isaiah Thomas. This is all LeBron James's fault. If they won the championship, he would get all the glory. Bro, they haven't even made the play-in. But Malika Andrews, ESPN, they never liked Kobe. It's just now they don't have to deal with him. Unless you people start to rise up. Who agree? I think that debate's over too. He's not Kobe Bryant. He's not Magic. I don't even know if LeBron seriously is better than Wilt Chamberlain. We know he's not a better scoring option. I don't think he's a better player. Wilt Chamberlain led the league in assists. Wilt Chamberlain led the league in scoring. Wilt Chamberlain had some decent teams where he should have won, but he didn't have the power that LeBron James has. Neither did Mike. Neither did Isaiah. No one's ever had the power this dude has, remember? And he still got 3 chips and a bubble. That's enough. I'm out, man. Y'all have a great day. Peace. Oh, and before I forget, what makes him megalomaniac-like is because every other day he has to be relevant. Now, that could be his handlers telling him at a thinking tank or thinking table, per se. You have to stay relevant now that the NBA season is coming to a close. He's one of their cash cows, as mentioned before, so he has to stay relevant, but it looks crazy. Bro, 40's knocking at your door and you have more energy for the dumb stuff on the dais, like a child, like a teenager, like your son. That's crazy. His narcissism has gone to a new height. So that's the reason why, the title's also relevant. From Wonderkin to megalomaniac. He's on the psychosis. Looking from afar, it's blatant at this point that there are some problems, man. Every day you feel like you have to be relevant. And we play into that as people who are YouTubers and content creators. We're not necessarily innocent. When we make videos like this, when people go crazy like an Elvis fan or Michael Jackson fan, it does create a cult-like following. But I think on this end, we're trying to bring this man as well as his followers back to reality. And there's a new take that this dude is definitely not all that they've promoted him. And he may be slightly overrated, man. Because he was a media creation. And now they don't know what to do with him. So that's just, a little interlude. Maybe going into the next video, so I apologize. This is not like me. I just forgot to mention that. And I felt like you all deserve more point and more details to be displayed. It's your man who did it. Be well.